All right, we're going to see how this works. I'm inside my van. Right now, the wind is blowing at about 15 miles an hour, so I can't hear anything when I'm filming outside. So I brought everything into my van. I've got some more elk legs. I processed about 5 of them already this morning. And what I'm doing is I'm taking out the long bone here and the sinew, or the tendon. And I'm also saving this hide right here, this portion of the hide. When I split it, I'm saving it. All right, so what I'm going to do, I made the Arrowhead blade on video. I made a base tang knife. I don't have a lanyard for it, but just pretend there's a lanyard on it. I was going to make a Obsidian blade. I snapped the tip off, but I'm still going to try it. See how well that cuts. And I've got some new tools. This one here is just a big flake. They call this a sequent flake, right? You hold it right here, presumably. It's got an extremely good edge on it. I imagine that would get worn down and resharpened until it gets down to here, where it's not very useful. But this is like the stage 1 version, I would think, for a sequent flake. These are found in Texas, maybe other places as well. And I sharpened up 2 flakes, put points on them so I can get into the various areas. Now this one here, I cleaned it up, but I didn't resharpen it yet. It still feels sharp, so I'm just going to use it like that. All right, I'm not going to cut any meat today. I'm just going to go after the tendons and clear off the bone and disarticulate these 2 joints. Okay? All right, so let's see. And I got my back up here. You can see it's got some junk on it from processing earlier. Now, what I've been doing is I've been splitting the hide on this side. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Now, I did this intentionally, so I had to start somewhere on the hide itself instead of starting it at a portion that's already cut. So I'm thinking the best way to do that, the best way to start is with a sharp tip tool. Yeah. Just bear with me. I've got this piece of plywood in my van, and hopefully it's going to work. Okay. So I'm just going to cut into the hide here with the tip of this tool. Or I could have used just a plain flake with a good tip on it, but it's easier just to sharpen it to a tip. And I did grind this area back here so I won't cut myself. All right. So I just worked my way in. I just worked it back and forth until I pierced the skin. You can't see. See that? I just worked my way in there. Just to start this process. That's what I was afraid of. Here's a tick. All right, so let's see if we can get this. There we go. A little bit further away of you. If there's ticks roaming around, hopefully I can spot them before they get anywhere. All right. So I was looking at this, and I think there's a bevel on this side and a bevel on that side. So if I hold it like this, I'm going to be gripping the bevel. I don't want to be holding it like this. What I'm thinking is I can hold it like this and cut this way, like this. I'll show you. By using the beveled side and cut away from me like this. right, and let's see. So I'll just wing it and cut however it works, but I think cutting away from me is going to be the best bet once I start getting into the hide here. Now this is very sharp, but it gets gummed up almost immediately, especially if it has serrations. It gets gummed up. It does have, let's see, is it going to focus? It's not going to focus. If it's got a lot of serrations in it, it gets gummed up. So I tried not to have serrations in it. So it'll probably act better if I'm just cutting meat, but if you got hair and membrane and fat and stuff, I think that it gets gummed up too easily if it has serrations in it. Now there is a tendon underneath here, so I got to be careful that I don't cut that while I'm doing this. Yeah, this is too bulky right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into this and not explain too much because it's distracting if I had to explain everything. Just try to get the information from watching. And I'll make some observations as I go, like especially on articulating or disarticulating the joints. All right. Now with a normal knife, you could just put that in there and cut up. But with the stone, it does not cut as well as a very razor sharp steel blade. You gotta do like a sawing motion. Like that. And it seems like the smaller the tool, the easier it is, and the pointier it is. Yeah, let's see. Okay, here we go. I can get into it now where get a better grip. Now that starts to cut into my hand, so either I got to wear a mitt or figure out some other way to hold that big Arrowhead blade. This one I've already dulled around the bottom, so I don't have to worry about cutting myself. But I can already feel like I'm going to cut myself with that other blade. Now, I've already done a bunch of these with a regular knife. I'm doing this without practice with the stone tools on purpose. Because I want to learn to do the stone tool thing on video. This is much easier with a modern knife. Much easier. I might just do one with the modern knife just to show you the difference. So this one's working pretty good. This one will probably be the same. This base tang. Yeah. The Arrowhead seems to be a little bit large for this task. It does work, but it's harder to get a grip on. I would assume this is more for meat. See, I can get a good grip on this because I can back it up into my hand. Same with this, I can back it up. See that? I can back that up. And if I had a lanyard, it could be around my wrist so I don't drop it, which is useful, especially if you're near water. You don't want to drop it in the water and have to fish around for it, so to speak. Yeah, this blade works well, but I got to make sure, like I said before, not to touch the bone in a way that'll flake the stone. I got to be very careful about hitting bone. So a lot of times when you remove the skin, that tendon there stays on the skin, but I'm going to separate it right now. All right, so we know this works well. Yeah, so I'm going to continue to use the flake because I don't want to ruin that. Otherwise, you know, I just use it. Yeah, I think it's better use of my material. Besides, I want to give this to a friend of mine. If I just use these sharpened flakes, and I can hold on to it really well and still have a good point on it. It's important to have a point when you're doing this. You'll see later why. Especially when you get into separating the bones from each other. And then to get in where the tendons are and cut all that connective tissue out. All right. Let's see, I don't want any ticks crawling around. I want to make sure I get them and squish them before they get anywhere. All right. All right, let's see. Let's see what this obsidian does. Yeah, I still need a sawing motion. It doesn't do much good unless I can really hold on to it. I would prefer to use a duller tool that I can really grip than a super sharp one that's slippery and I can't grip. But it does work. It's just not cutting like a slicing situation. All right, so We know it works, but it works about the same. And it gets gummed up pretty quickly. And it might even be leaving little flakes in there. Okay. Let's see what this does. This is a natural edge that's really sharp. I gotta watch I don't slice myself. This works really good, actually. Yeah, this works really well. Let me do this. I'm gonna take all this skin off. I'm going to take all the skin off and I'm going to dump it outside. This actually works really well. The best tool so far. Yeah, this is the best one so far. It's just a natural edge. It's not really all that sharp, but I can get a good grip on it, so I think that makes a big difference. And this bit back here being dull, I can push inward a little bit. No problems. No problems being worried about cutting myself. It's getting dull really fast, though. And back in the day, I don't think you want to take a whole bunch of time to do this. You want to try to do this as fast as possible because, you know, it gets rotten. Unless you do it in extremely cold weather. And this is definitely the weather to do it. It's getting cold. It's getting too dull already. Let's see, it's still not as good as the other two. I mean, This one is probably sharper, but this one is still better. Let's see, let's try to slice this with the Obsidian. Okay. It does work. All right. Let's try slicing this with this tool. Yeah, compared to the Obsidian slice is much better. Yeah, so if I wanted to cut strips from the hide, I would use the Obsidian. All right, let's dump these outside as soon as I get them. Let's see, dump this one. It's getting dull. Is there a sharp area? Maybe right there. These things are rattling around. Let's see. Let me put these on the side. Yeah, these things are making that rattling noise. Hold on. Great. Yeah, just bang them together. That'd be awesome. Okay. That's rattling too. Yeah, just throw it on top of everything. That'd be beautiful. Okay. Yes, I definitely like this the best so far. So is it like an ulu knife? It's very similar to an ulu knife. All I had to do is put a piece of wood on one side of a biface. Yeah, just glue a piece of wood to one side of the biface and it'd be like an ulu blade or ulu knife. Yeah. It's pretty good, but it's getting dull. Okay. Now, where did I get the elk legs? I got them from my taxidermist friend. Yeah, I got a bunch of elk legs. Basically, I could get the elk carcass, the bones, the rib cage, and all that stuff. Just not the trophy heads or the trophy mountable parts of the elk. I can get, you know, after they butcher it, I can get the carcass, but the legs are the easiest for me to transport, so I'll get the carcass eventually and then try to disarticulate some of the other bones, some of the other joints in the carcass to see what kind of tools can be used. All right, let's get something sharper. I've got more than one. I got this one. This is, I haven't used this one yet. Maybe this is, yeah, okay. I'm gonna make short work of this, hopefully. Yep. And I'm gonna separate the tendon from the hide here. You can see that, right? There's a tendon right there. That's a good tendon to get sinew for making whatever. All right, so we've just got one more little part left, and I'll toss this piece of hide out the door. Did I cut myself? No. Is that another tick? I gotta make sure. Nope. All right. Come on. Yeah, there it is. All right, we'll get rid of this. But I'm gonna use this part. See that part? I'm gonna tack it to a board and use that main part right there. Okay? I'll find a use for it, you know. Obviously, you can make bags and stuff. This is really thick right there, but it's all right. Okay. All right, and then we're going to disarticulate this joint here so I can toss this out, just in case there's any more ticks or whatever. They start to wake up in it's warm in the van. So I guess they start to wake up and start moving around, because I didn't see any ticks before I started this, and I didn't see any on the other ones that I processed earlier. Now see, I take these dew claws off because they're not attached with anything except tendon, but it's easy with the regular knife. Let me just do it with the regular knife so I can save some time. It's already 28 minutes. How would I do this with a stone tool? Very slowly and with lots of hassle. Come on. Even my knife is getting dull. Come on. Yeah. I did not bring my sharpener into the van, so I can't sharpen my knife quickly. To be fair, I hit a lot of bone earlier with the knife. I just hit myself. I gotta slow down. All right. Did I do anything? No, it's a scratch. All right. Is this the new one? No. This is the new one. Oh, yes. So I'm just moving the skin or the hide from the joint, away from the joint so I can get to it. Now I'm not going to use any of the tendon that goes past this joint, so I'm just going to start cutting away everything from around the joint. And let's see if this will be able to get into it. So I'm just going to feel around. I am going to hit some bone here. This is raw, so it's pretty tough. So I'm hoping it's not going to break while I'm doing this. But you can see how that's opening up right there. You got to saw away all the connective tendon, or all the tendons going across, and all that connective tissue. You can't just start getting in there and prying it like this, because it'll snap the stone. You got to carefully go around the entire outside of that joint, or where it meets up, where the two bones meet up. You hear that? I'm sawing through tendon and stuff. And eventually I'll go around in a sawing motion and get to that joint and separate just by slicing all those tendons. But I can't be hitting bone too much, because it'll snap or it'll flake this part here and really mess it up. But you can see how I'm getting in there by slicing away all that stuff. So there's more to it. There's more to disarticulating it than just getting in there and trying to pry it apart. I can get it apart if I just selectively slice away all the connective tissue. How does it look on that side? I think I'm in the wrong area. It's already snapping. You can kind of hear it snapping the stone. I'm not sure where the bones separate here. Just kind of feeling around to see where the bones are, the two separate bones are. And I think I was cutting to either side of where that joint is. There it is. But you can tell it's not focusing right, but I'm chipping away at the edge here. Little by little, you can kind of hear that it's snapping little pieces of the blade off. So I wouldn't want to be doing this. I would not want to be doing this with those fancy blades. I'd want to be doing it with something like this, or probably something that resembles an ulu knife. Maybe a crescent, maybe, for this kind of sawing motion. Although a crescent is kind of fat, it can't get in there very easily. You have to be able to get in between the bones. You know, the tool has to be thin enough to get in between. Now some might be saying you can just cook it and it'll pop. You can put it in a fire and all that tissue will cook and get soft, and you'll just pop apart. You know, you don't have to go through all this work of trying to slice it. Well, if you don't have a fire, you gotta slice it. Get in there. Get in those areas that are not easy to get into. I'll mess up my van over there. Okay. So little by little, and it's pretty much the same with the modern knife, except it is easier because it's a lot more pointy. You know, you gotta have a point to get in there. Come on. I know you can do it. It's a very complex joint. Once you slice through it all, it comes off pretty easily. Yeah, I'm snapping the tip off of this. Okay. Come on. All right, let's see. There we go. There we go. It's starting to loosen up. Can't see, but I'm just slowly slicing away at the connective tissue in there, whatever it's called. There's really heavy duty tendons or something in there. They're very strong. Whatever's in there. And you need a point to get down in there. There it goes. Can't see it. You need to get right down in there. It's easy with a steel knife, but I'm trying to not to break the stone blade. Come on. There it is. Finally. Okay, there's a little piece holding it together right in there. So you need a point to get down in there. See that little piece holding it? Okay. There it is. Easy peasy, right? I suppose it's even more difficult with bison. Alright, that's what I'm supposing. Okay, so now we're home free. I don't see any more bugs. Alright, no bugs. Get these out of here, just in case. Yes. Okay, so the tendons. We're already at 40 minutes. All right. How long did it take to get through that joint? Now, let's see. Where are the needle? There's needle bones in here somewhere. I think there might be up here. There's needle bones in here somewhere, and they'll mess you up when you try to cut through this stuff. Let's just get this out of here. Should have brought my pressure flaker so I could do some minute retouch as I'm doing this, because it's really dull, especially right there, and it's kind of slimy now too. All right, I'm not going to use this upper part of that Y. Well, I suppose I could, but if I end up cutting it out of there, it won't matter. You know, this upper part of the tendon has a Y in it. If I end up cutting that off or messing this top part off, if I end up messing this top part while cutting it off, it doesn't matter. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it's quite dull. And you need a point to get down in there, a pointy tool. So you slice through this membrane on the outside. See, there's a tendon here, and then there's a membrane over the top of the whole thing. See that? There's a membrane over the top of the whole thing. This is not sinew. This is. This right here, once it dries, you pound it and then separate the fibers. Now, I've tried to use this membrane before, but it's not that great. I mean, I suppose it's okay for holding down feathers or whatever, but it's not. It doesn't separate into long strands. You gotta cheat and use scissors to cut it. I mean, it does work, but that just gets tossed out. There's another tendon down in here. I don't know if you can see it. There's one on the other side too. See that? This is the main one, and there's some more down in here. See that? Okay. Of course, if you're doing this yourself, you'll know, you'll see it. It's already dark outside, so hopefully the light that I got on in here is going to be sufficient. That got dark pretty quick. Well, it's already been 44 minutes, so yeah, it's taking me longer than I thought. Trying to get through that joint took me longer than I thought it was going to take. Let's see. Let me use a different tool. hold it like this and move away from myself. Yeah, I'm hitting bone. It'll work, but it's just big and bulky. So I think this is better for slicing the meat. These little flakes, these little flake tools are better for this particular operation. Now, is that a tendon? Or is that membrane? It's membrane. Yeah. So yeah, I'll bring my pressure flaking tool with me next time, where I'll have it. I'll remember to bring it so that way I can resharpen it. Resharpen these tools as I'm working, because they do get dull pretty fast. Yeah, this is already kind of dull, so. It's still good. All right, there are bones in here, right? So I gotta slice those out. You can't see. There are bones in here, so I gotta slice those out. Here. Yeah, that obsidian works really well for slicing. Okay. But I think I just chipped it quite a bit. Because I hit wood. Alright, that's waste. Unless we can find some use for those bones. I don't know. Alright, so I'm going to stop this at an hour regardless of where I'm at, I think. We'll see. Maybe not. Alright, so I got to follow this. Now, last time we did this, I thought this main tendon went up over this, but it doesn't. It goes in through this joint and comes out here somewhere. Okay. Much better. I don't know why. This gets gummed up pretty fast. If it would just focus, I'd be very happy. See, it gets gummed up with stuff, and it's got little bitty serrations in it. It doesn't work as good as this smooth one. Even though this is probably duller by now than the other ones. This is pretty dry here, so that's why I'm sawing through it. Yeah, this dried out. Okay, so I'm not sure if I can save this lower tendon. It's attached right here somewhere. Yeah, there's like a bone right in there. Or something across there. Holding that in there. It's not a bone, okay. It's just a thick piece of cartilage or something right there. All right. So is that, oh, this is connected up here. Okay. Come on. It's sticky. All right. So I'm separating the tendon from the meat down here. Trying to. I'm going to try to figure out where these tendons go right here. I mean, they go into the meat, but I want to see how far they go, and I'll cut them right at the point where I think they're not going to serve any good purpose, or where it's not going to be useful to retain the tendon. Like, see, they start to diminish as it goes into the meat, so if I cut it off right there, that'll be good. Or down here somewhere. Oh, I don't know. We can go up a little higher, perhaps. Can't see. This is where a side scraper comes in. Scraping the meat from the tendon works pretty good if you do a side scraping type of thing. Same with the backstrap sinew. A side scraper works well on that, but it doesn't really work that well for getting in here and cutting apart the membrane and getting to the tendons. That's why I like the pointy tool for this. I can get in there and separate. Does it go down in? I don't know. I don't know how far this goes. I can't remember. Sometimes it doesn't go anywhere. It just connects up here somewhere. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, that's already dull. That's a little bit better. Come on. Okay. Do I have another tool? This is from yesterday. Maybe that'll slice this easier. It's all slimy, right? So it gums up the tools right away. I can't just pull it through because it's still attached somewhere. Okay, so this is good. And that runs all the way down. All right. That's a really long one. See how it runs all the way down to the end. All the way down to here. So as long as I don't mess it up, that's a very long tendon. There we go. Come on. I don't want to cut it too fast because then I'll slice through the tendon and I won't get the whole thing. I want to be able to get that whole piece. Because these are going to be good for wrappings on little dart points and knives when you got a really long, strong tendon. When you pound it and separate it, you'll have long strands, which makes it really good. Nice. I like these. This one and this one are ending up being my favorites. I do like these pointy ones, but they break off and they get dull and they get gummy and gooey. Gummed up. Look at that. It's stuck right on there. I think it's because of the serrations on it. But these don't have any serrations or anything. I gotta be careful I don't cut myself on this. Come on, come on. I know you're dull, but you're not that dull. Maybe you are, I don't know. What are you doing? See, if I take my modern knife, that's so easy, right? You just do that. You just do that. Yeah. Yeah, I got two good tendons here. Let's see where the other one goes. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. I'll get there eventually. We're not there yet. We'll be there eventually, just not there yet. I really want these tendons to be full length, or as long as possible. I bought these tendons and stuff off of eBay and off of friends and stuff, but they're usually working with legs that are, cut off a lot worse than this. This was cut off here. I guess this is where they hang it from. They pierce the tendon and they hang up the elk to gut it and stuff and to skin it. And if there's a lot of leg left, you can get big tendons or long tendons from it. Okay, let's just get rid of this massive meat here. Yeah, there it goes. Now this one, where does that tendon go? I don't know. Does it go up and around? Yes, it does. It goes into here somewhere. Feels like it might attach right there. I suppose if I do a lot of these, I'll finally figure it out. And then get all the tendons that I can possibly get and be more efficient. That's the final goal. And there's a lot more to go. This season is just, it started recently. So I can get a hold of a lot more of this stuff from my taxidermist friend. Hopefully. Yes, hint, hint. Yeah, there's always a lot of waste. From the processor or from the taxidermist. All right. I think I'm going to cut it right there. That seems like it's just stopped right there. Come on. You're dull, but you're not that dull. Yeah. The tendon's tough, but not that tough. Come on. There it is. Very nice. I don't know how long that is. It shrinks anyway, but yeah, that's pretty good. Look how long that is. I might only need 2 of these pieces to wrap something. 2 strands that long. Of course, the strands are thin and narrow. I can get maybe 8 strands or something out of this. So I can wrap a projectile point with two strands out of this sinew. One of those that'll dart projectile points, or a knife blade to a handle, that sort of thing. Of course, it's easier just to glue it. Right, so this main tendon goes down into this joint and out the top here. It goes these are connected. Right? Yeah. So, let's see, it's already 1 hour and 2 minutes. What am I going to do? Where does this go? This doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, this just attaches. This tendon just attaches to that. So I can cut this off. You can make tendon glue. These short pieces of tendon, you can boil them down just like making hide glue. You can make tendon glue. Okay? So as long as I get this main tendon out, this main tendon there, all the way to here, the rest can be boiled and then made into glue. Same with this membrane. You can boil this membrane and it'll, if it's not tendon, maybe that's tendon also. Yeah. The membrane, where is the membrane? I don't know, somewhere. You can boil that. If there's no tendon, there are 2 tendons at least in here on the sides. The middle part, I'm not so sure. So yeah, it can be boiled down and made into glue. And I think the tendon glue is better than the hide glue. Someone can hopefully weigh in on that. I'll be experimenting with different parts of the animal used for glues. I've heard that the tendon glue or the sinew glue is the best. Probably because of the flexibility of the glue. It doesn't crack and break easily. Obviously, you don't want the glue to be all brittle. You want the glue to be flexible, especially for the backs of bows. I've used fish glue for the backs of bows, and it's a little bit brittle. So I'm looking for something else. Fish glue is good because it stays liquid even at lower temperatures, so it's easier to work with. You don't have to work in a 98-degree shop. You can work in a 50-degree shop or 60 degrees, something like that, and it won't it won't gel on you. That's why I like fish glue. But it's a little bit brittle, so the sinew backing doesn't have as much spring to it as I think it should have. Yeah, because I've broken a bow with sinew backing, believe it or not. And it's because the sinew cracked. It was so brittle. The sinew and the glue combination together was so brittle, it just snapped. It right across. It wasn't like a jagged snap of the sinew. It was like a break, like that. So that tells me it was brittle. And it was all fish glue. I thought it was going to be good. Apparently, there's a difference in the glues. Because I know the Korean bows are made, the traditional Korean bows are made with sinew backing. The last time I did this, I pulled it all the way through, didn't I? Yeah, and I cut off this fat part here to get it through there. That's what I did. Yeah, see that? This now is loose and almost free. I can almost pull that. Let's see. If I pull it through this way, it might work. No. I gotta do a lot more separating in here. This attaches down in there, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. If I can open this up somehow, I can try to get that connective tissue in here cut so that I can pull it through. But yeah, this time I'll pull it through this way. Let's cut that meat off. Let's see. Yes, no. Do it with the stone tool. Yeah, I know. Come on. Yeah, there's still a good bit of tendon down in there. Come on. I can't put too much force on it because being a napper, I know how much force it'll take. If I hit that wood too much, it'll break the blade. Or at least it'll chip the edge a lot. So I can't be as aggressive as I can with a modern steel knife. Yeah, okay, that's good enough. Yeah. I should be able to pull all the way through. As long as I can get that connective tissue cut so I can get that out of there. There is another tendon. See how it separates right there? There is the one going somewhere up here. Maybe? Where is it going? See, I don't want to cut that. I don't want to cut any tendons. I want as long as possible. So this has got a sheath. I guess this is a sheath here. 40 tendon. It's right there. Where does that go? Oh, that goes up here. Yeah. This attaches to there. Okay. So I cut through the sheath to get to the tendon. And it attaches up here. Alrighty. Did I pull? I don't think I pulled this one out last time. And I don't remember processing the other legs like this that I did earlier today. Maybe I did. I just don't remember. Come on. You're dull, but you're not that dull. There it is. It doesn't look like those little spiderweb membranes are strong, but they hold it in. I can't pull it. I can't pull that out. As long as I cut through that sheath without cutting the tendon, I think I can get down in there. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's getting there. Yes, no? I do have my tape measure, so remind me to measure it when I pull this out so we can know how long it is. That's why you need a point on it. See that? To get down in there. Is it attached? It might be attached right there. What is that? I think it's attached in there. So this part, come on. That part is free. This part, it's attached right there. Come on. All right. Come on. Yeah, if it's dull, it's not doing anything. Okay. Come on. I don't know if it's... I don't know what it's doing. It's just being dull, I think. Yeah. All right. Enough of that. Okay, so this one... Let me get my tape measure. I'm glad you reminded me. All right, hold on. See if I can reach it. I'm going to have to go outside. Hold on. Okay, tape measure. This tendon, now, yeah, I got tendon all the way up to the top here. It's got meat on it, but there's tendon there also. All right, so you can't see, I know. All right, so it's all the way from up there to down here. It says 22. 22, but I'm going to lose this part, about 3 inches off of that. Okay? Or 2.5 inches off of that, maybe. Well, I'll leave it on this time and dry it out and see. But normally I don't use the Y part. Okay, and this other tendon, 17.5. But I'll lose a little bit. We shall see. Now the other tendon, what is the other one? Just zoom out. I don't want to zoom out because then it loses its focus. This is 19. Okay. So this one and that one are good. I've got some membrane here, or the sheath. This can be boiled down into... Oh, come on. This can be boiled down into glue. So that's what I'm going to do. This is going to be glue. I don't know about this. Got some meat on it. Now that's membrane also, or a sheath or whatever. Come on, come on. It's so sticky. I could boil this down. It's got connective tissue right there. And I can boil these bones that have all these tendons and stuff still in there. Now, how do you disarticulate this joint to get this bone out? That takes a while. Yeah. So I'm not going to do it. Normally what I do is I cut it right there. So then I can boil this bone and the marrow comes out easily once it's boiled. It's in there after you boil it, right? But all you got to do is, knock it out of there. It just comes out. If you just hit the bone down on something or you just swing the bone a little bit, that marrow just flies right out. Okay, take my word for it. It works. Yeah. And the marrow is only like about, it's not that much. In that inside that bone, it's going to be like that. That's the marrow. That's it. It's about that big. So it's not much. I mean, compared to the meat that they get off of these things, the upper part of the leg, not the lower part, there's nothing down here, but the upper part of the leg, it's a huge amount of meat up here compared to the little bit of marrow you get from getting into the bone. Yeah. So think about that one too. The marrow is good for you and it's very nutritious, but there's not a lot of it. It's barely enough to feed one person for one meal on a complete carcass. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, I'm not going to do any more on this because I'm just going to put this whole thing in a pot. Yeah. Yeah, I'll boil it. This end will stick out probably, but I'll boil this and then turn it around and boil that. Clean that off and leave this boiling for a while till it all falls apart. Yep, and then make some glue. All right. So yeah, the end, the moral of the story, the review of the tools, this was the best so far. The next best are the pointed, according to me, okay, these pointed ones, and then the smaller, really thin flakes, and then all the specialized blades. I think these are more for cutting the meat and not for doing this kind of operation close to the bone. You know what I mean? I think these are better suited for dealing with the cutting of the meat itself and not messing with all this stuff near the bone. Now, how do you do the rib meat? Yeah, that's for another video probably. But if to do the rib meat, to take the meat away from the ribs, I would probably use something like this too. But if I was to cut the big strips of meat, I would use something like this. Cut big strips of meat out, hang to dry with these bigger tools. Yeah, this works to get in there close, but it'll dull the tip and it'll break it off, and it'll do a number like it did on this one. On this, and I wouldn't want to waste this if it's good for slicing the meat for drying. Yeah, it's an important task. I wouldn't want to ruin my good blades that are made of rare stone as well. You know, big pieces of stone are pretty rare, relatively speaking, compared to stuff like this. All right, so hopefully that was good. I'll see you on the next video.